Welcome to Everyday English Podcast, where we practice real-life English for your daily world. Today, we aren't just learning health vocabulary. We're going to build a mental map of your own nervous system to understand exactly why your brain won't shut off at 2 in the morning. Imagine it is 2 o'clock in the afternoon at a sterile, quiet sleep clinic, and you are telling the doctor, I am exhausted, but the moment I hit the pillow, my brain turns on like a television. You feel that familiar knot of helpless frustration, realizing you do not have the English words to explain what is happening inside your own body.
Medical English used to absolutely terrify me. I remember just nodding along to a doctor's diagnosis once because I was too embarrassed to admit I had no idea what a neurological response was.
By the end of this episode, you will master the exact biological vocabulary doctors use so you can walk into any medical situation and advocate for your health with total confidence.
I think this is so incredibly important. When we learn a language, we usually learn how to order coffee, how to book a hotel room, or how to ask for directions. But when your body is failing you, or when you are sitting in a white room under those bright fluorescent lights across from a medical professional, the basic vocabulary just is not enough. You cannot just say, I feel bad. You need precision.
Exactly. Precision in medical English can literally change the outcome of your treatment. To get us started, we're going to listen to a short conversation. We're going to play out a scenario between a patient and a sleep specialist, known as a somnologist. I want you to listen to the specific words the doctor uses and notice how the patient tries to navigate the confusion.
Okay, I will play the role of the frustrated patient, and Tom, you can be the clinical sleep doctor. Let us set the scene. We are in the clinic. Doctor, I just do not understand what is wrong with me. I have this deep, heavy tiredness all day at work, but the second I get into bed at night, my heart starts racing and my mind will not stop thinking about a million different things. Am I just losing my mind?
You are certainly not losing your mind. Based on what you're describing, it is believed that you are dealing with a state of chronic fatigue combined with a highly active neurological response at night. Essentially, your circadian rhythm is out of alignment with your actual lifestyle.
Circadian rhythm? Is that like my sleep schedule? Because I try to go to bed at the same time every night.
It's much more than just a schedule, it's a biological clock. If you were to look at the human body on a micro level, every single organ has its own timing system. Right now, it is hypothesized that your endocrine system is releasing waking hormones like cortisol at the exact time it should be releasing sleep hormones like melatonin.
So my body is basically confusing night and day? What does the endocrine system have to do with that?
The endocrine system controls your hormones. If you were to expose your eyes to bright artificial light late at night, your endocrine system receives a signal that the sun is still up. It then commands the body to stay awake. We need to reset that chemical balance so your nervous system can finally power down.
All right, let's pause the role play right there. That was an intense conversation, and honestly, even just reading that out loud, I find it very complex. When doctors start throwing around words like neurological, endocrine, and circadian, my brain just completely shuts down.
It's totally normal to feel that way. Medical science is incredibly complicated, and the vocabulary can feel like a wall between you and your own health. But we're going to break these concepts down into understandable components. Let's start with the two main branches the doctor mentioned, the nervous system and the endocrine system.
Right. The doctor said the patient was having a highly active neurological response. I know that neuro relates to the brain, but what does that phrase actually mean in a practical sense?
A neurological response is essentially how your brain and nerves react to the world. The nervous system is the body's electrical wiring. It's fast, it's instant. If you were to touch a hot stove, your neurological response makes you pull your hand away in a fraction of a second. You don't even have to think about it. It uses electrical impulses to send messages from your brain down your spine and out to your muscles.
So, when the patient says their heart is racing and their mind is running at night, that's a neurological response. Their electrical system is firing off warnings when it should be completely quiet. That makes sense. But then the doctor mentioned the other branch, the endocrine system. This is a word I hear in health podcasts and see in medical articles, but I've never fully grasped it. What does endocrine actually mean?
Let's look at the etymology of the word, the history of where it comes from. Endo means inside or within. Crine comes from a Greek word meaning to separate or to secrete. So the endocrine system is the network of glands in your body that secrete hormones directly into your blood.
Hormones like adrenaline, testosterone, estrogen, and cortisol.
Exactly. Now, if the nervous system is like sending a fast, instant text message using electricity, the endocrine system is like sending a physical letter through the postal service using chemicals. It takes longer to arrive, but the effects last much longer.
That is a brilliant way to simplify it. The nervous system is the fast electrical text message, and the endocrine system is the slow chemical postal service. So, bringing this to a real-world application, if somebody jumps out and scares me, my nervous system reacts instantly. I jump. But the reason my heart keeps beating fast for 20 minutes after the scare is because my endocrine system released a chemical package of adrenaline into my blood, and it takes time for that chemical to clear out.
You have completely understood it. That is exactly how those two branches work together. And this is where it connects to our everyday lives and our modern problems. The doctor in our dialogue mentioned chronic fatigue. We need to distinguish between acute and chronic because these are two of the most important words you can ever use in a medical setting.
I have heard those words used to describe pain, like acute pain versus chronic pain.
Yes, acute means sudden, short, and usually severe. If you were to break your arm, that is acute pain. But chronic comes from the Greek word chronos, meaning time. Chronic means something that persists for a long time, usually months or years.
So, if you stay up late one night to finish a project and you feel tired the next day, that is just normal tiredness. But if you have been waking up exhausted every single day for 6 months, regardless how much you sleep, that is chronic fatigue. It is an ongoing, systematic failure to rest.
Precisely. And explaining the difference between feeling tired and experiencing chronic fatigue is how you get a doctor to take your symptoms seriously. When you use the word chronic, a doctor immediately understands that this is not a lifestyle choice. It is a persistent medical issue. It is believed that millions of people suffer from chronic fatigue simply because their basic biological rhythms are broken.
Which brings us to that beautiful, complicated phrase the doctor used, circadian rhythm. Circadian rhythm, it sounds almost musical.
It is a wonderful phrase. Circa means approximately or around. Dian comes from dies, meaning day. So a circadian rhythm is an approximately 24-hour cycle. It is the internal biological clock that dictates when you feel sleepy and when you feel awake.
And it is not just humans that have this, right? I read somewhere that even plants and bacteria have circadian rhythms. It is a fundamental law of nature on this planet because we live on a rock that spins towards and away from a giant star. Every living thing has adopted to the cycle of light and dark.
It is truly awe-inspiring when you think about it philosophically. Your body, your cells, your hormones are all perfectly synchronized with the rotation of the Earth, or at least they're supposed to be.
That is the big problem, isn't it? We have these ancient Paleolithic bodies that are designed to wake up with the sunrise and go to sleep when it gets dark. But we live in a modern world where we can turn on the sun at midnight using our smartphones, our laptops, and our overhead LED lights.
Exactly. Let us look at the real-world mechanics of what happens when you stare at a phone at 11 o'clock at night. It is believed that the blue light emitted from your screen enters your eyes and sends a direct electrical text message, a neurological response to a tiny region in your brain called the hypothalamus.
And the hypothalamus is the master clock, right?
Yes, the hypothalamus then sends a message to your endocrine system. It essentially yells, "The sun is up, stop producing melatonin." Melatonin is the chemical postal package that tells your organs to sleep. If you were to halt the production of melatonin, your body would naturally start producing cortisol instead.
Cortisol is the stress hormone, the waking hormone. So it's like a seesaw. If melatonin goes down, cortisol goes up. No wonder the patient in our story feels like their brain is a television that will not turn off. Their body is chemically preparing to start a brand new day at midnight.
And this is exactly why it is so deeply frustrating. You can be physically exhausted, your muscles can be aching for rest, but your endocrine system is pumping out cortisol because you were answering work emails in bed. Your neurological system will stay on high alert. You are trapped in a state of wired exhaustion.
Wired and tired. I have definitely been there. It's such a helpless feeling. You just lie there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, feeling your heartbeat, and wondering why your own body is fighting against you. It's a very different set of rules from the way we lived for thousands of years. We think we're so advanced with our technology and our modern conveniences, but we are completely disrespecting the fundamental laws of our own biology.
I love how you phrased that, disrespecting the laws of biology. If you're enjoying this deep dive into the fascinating mechanics of the human body and you want to keep expanding your advanced everyday vocabulary with us, make sure to subscribe to the Everyday English podcast. We create these detailed, immersive lessons to help you master the language of the real world.
Absolutely. So we have talked about the theory, we've talked about the nervous system, the endocrine system, and the circadian rhythm. But the competitor's physics lessons always felt abstract to me. You cannot build a black hole in your living room. You cannot travel through a wormhole to see if time slows down. But biology is happening inside of you right this very second.
That is the magic of medical science. You have a laboratory inside your own chest. So we are going to do something highly practical right now. We are going to prove to you that you have the power to manually override your own nervous system.
Wait, manually override, like hacking a computer?
Exactly like hacking a computer. Your autonomic nervous system controls things you do not think about, like your digestion, your pupil dilation, and your heart rate. It is assumed that these functions are entirely automatic, but there is a back door. There is a physiological lever you can pull to force your neurological response to calm down immediately. It is called the physiological sigh.
The physiological sigh. I have heard neuroscientists talk about this. It's a specific pattern of breathing that instantly reduces the adrenaline in your bloodstream, right?
Yes, and we are going to do it together right now. The mechanics are simple. You take 2 inhales through your nose, followed by 1 long extended exhale through your mouth. The double inhale is the secret. When you are stressed, the tiny air sacs in your lungs, called alveoli, tend to collapse and flatten out.
Like deflated balloons.
Exactly. When you take a deep breath and then sneak in a second, sharper inhale right at the top, it forces those little balloons to pop open. This allows carbon dioxide to be offloaded from your bloodstream. Then, when you take a long, slow exhale, you are sending a direct signal to your heart to slow down.
Because the heart rate becomes significantly slower on the exhale compared to the inhale. We are using comparative mechanics here. A longer exhale physically forces the heart rate to drop.
You've got it. So if you're listening to this right now, whether you're on a train, doing the dishes, or walking outside, I want you to try this with us. We are going to do it 3 times. Ready? Take a deep breath in through the nose. Now take another quick breath in. Now a long, slow exhale through the mouth. Let all the air out.
I'm doing it with you.
Let us do it again. Deep inhale through the nose, second sharp inhale to pop the lungs open, and a long, slow, relaxing exhale through the mouth. Feel your shoulders drop, feel the tension leaving your jaw.
One more time. Deep inhale, second quick inhale, and a long, smooth exhale.
How does that feel, Sarah?
It's honestly incredible. I can actually feel a physical shift in my chest. My heart rate feels distinctly slower. It's almost like I drank a cup of calming tea, but it happened in 15 seconds. It's fascinating that we walk around all day with this incredible machinery, completely unaware that we have a built-in brake pedal for our stress.
It truly is a wonder. And now you have the vocabulary to explain what just happened. You did not just take a deep breath. You utilized a physiological sigh to manually regulate your autonomic nervous system, offload carbon dioxide from your alveoli, and reduce the cortisol in your endocrine system.
If I went to a doctor and said that, they would probably offer me a job at the clinic. But seriously, having this vocabulary completely changes the power dynamic in a medical office. You're no longer just a helpless patient waiting to be told what's wrong. You're an active participant in your own health.
That is the ultimate goal. So let's review how you can use these exact phrases the next time you have to visit a doctor. If you are struggling with sleep and exhaustion, don't just walk in and say, "I'm tired all the time."
Right, because the doctor will just say, try to get more rest, drink less coffee, and send you home. It's a very dismissive response.
Instead, you want to use the terminology we learned today. You can say, "Doctor, I have been experiencing severe chronic fatigue for the last 3 months. I believe my circadian rhythm is completely disrupted because I'm having a hyperactive neurological response every time I try to go to sleep."
That's brilliant. It's clear, it's precise, and it demonstrates that you understand your symptoms on a deeper level. You could even add, I would like to request some blood work to check the hormone levels in my endocrine system, specifically my cortisol.
If you were to speak like that, the doctor would immediately know they need to investigate thoroughly. It is believed that patients who use specific medical terminology receive more accurate diagnoses because they leave less room for misinterpretation.
It takes away the fear, too. I used to look at medical documents or health articles and feel like I was reading a foreign language. But once you realize that most of these huge, scary words are just combinations of simple Greek and Latin building blocks, like endo and crine or circa and dian, the fear disappears. It becomes a puzzle you can solve.
It really does. It transforms biology from something terrifying into something deeply beautiful. Your body is the most sophisticated piece of technology in the known universe. Millions of years of evolution have designed a system that balances electricity, chemicals, light, and dark, all to keep you alive and functioning. Appreciating that complexity is the first step toward taking better care of yourself.
It makes me want to learn so much more about how my own biology works. I feel intellectually stimulated, but in a very practical, grounded way. If our listeners want to dive deeper into this specific topic, do you have a resource you would recommend?
I absolutely do. If you are fascinated by the mechanics of the circadian rhythm and you want to practice your advanced English reading, I highly recommend the book Why We Sleep by Dr. Matthew Walker. It is a brilliant, accessible exploration of exactly what happens to our brains and bodies when we close our eyes. It will completely change the way you view a good night of rest.
I have read that book, and I completely agree. It is eye-opening, pun intended. It really makes you realize that sleep is not a luxury or a sign of weakness. It is a non-negotiable biological necessity.
It truly is. Now, we want to hear from you, our listeners. We love reading your perspectives from all over the world. So here is our question for today, and I want you to practice using the conditional grammar we used in this episode.
The question is, if you could instantly cure one modern health issue, like insomnia, chronic stress, or digital eye strain, what would it be? Use the phrase, "if I were to," in your answer below. For example, you might write, if I were to instantly cure one health issue, I would cure chronic insomnia because sleep affects everything else in life.
We cannot wait to read your answers in the comments. Your challenge for the next 3 days is to track your sleep and try writing down your physical symptoms using the new advanced biological vocabulary you learned today, instead of just saying, "I feel tired."
It will be a fantastic way to solidify these terms in your memory. Thank you for exploring the science of the human body with us today.
Keep practicing, stay curious about the world inside you, and we will see you in the next episode.